Hello and welcome to the B-roll for April 29th, 2022. Oh God, what a weird thing to say. I am Crash and Burn, and with me as always is Mike Montgomery.
What's going on, everybody?
What is going on? Mike, you've got some stories lined up for us, and oh my God, one of them doesn't have anything to do with Will Smith. For once. Yay!
Well, most of them don't. This is not that one, though.
Oh, damn it!
So I'm just going to put it out there right now. A lot of this is basically going to be the lightning round, so to speak, for this segment. And if you are tired of Will Smith stuff, just hit the skip ahead 30 seconds button on your player, and you should be good. This is just a quick note that I wanted to put out there because this report from ET Canada is the one and only place where I've seen this bit where Chris Rock's mother was interviewed by a local news station about everything. And the part that most outlets are skipping over is when she was asked about the 10-year ban, where she questions whether or not it really holds any weight, asking, what does that mean you don't even go every year?
Yeah, fuck it. It's not like you're up every year. Fuck it. Who cares?
Precisely. To confirm some of our previous Will Smith speculation, Bright 2 is indeed officially dead as of this week.
That's okay.
Oh yeah. No, they're like, that's one of those, I don't think anybody's really going to notice. Just where we had speculated on before, I just wanted to bring up that Collider is reporting that Bright 2 has officially been abandoned by Netflix, and National Geographic has apparently delayed I think, documentary that Smith was doing with them called Pole to Pole. So that one's in limbo.
Well, I'm just happy that some good came out of this after all.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, Bright was just one of those, it was there. We watched it and then we forgot it. And from there, we're headed over to the Spider-Man franchise and a little bit of editing from ITV where I'm kind of going, good. Do you remember the scene in the first Spider-Man where Tobey Maguire is in the cage with good old Bonesaw?
Yeah, and he drops a light homophobia. A light homophobia as a treat.
Yeah, and he actually no longer drops that line if you watch the movie on ITV. In the scene, now all he says is, that's a cute outfit, where the full line was, that's a cute outfit, did your husband give it to you? And I applaud this because that line is a perfect example of the issues that I had with Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker.
Yeah, he was kind of a nasty little prick under everything. That's one thing I always thought that his Venom got right is his nasty prickishness finally came to the forefront, and you really get a sense of just like how unlikable this Peter Parker is. When Mary Jane avoids him for most of the first movie, it's because of that.
Yeah, frankly, yeah, and like I would hear lines like that. A lot of the lines in the Tobey Maguire movies where he's making jokes, they just don't sound Parker-esque.
Yeah. Also, there's other potential Spider-Man news. Andrew Garfield, possibly jokingly, possibly not, has announced that he is retiring. Now, this might be him just fucking about. He is known to fuck about, and he is not exactly trustworthy in interviews when it comes to content of a Marvel nature. But I prefer the speculation that he saw the plans that they had over at Sony for his Spider-Man and the Morbius universe, and he just went, I quit acting entirely. I'm leaving this industry, this art form. I'm leaving my fame and my fortune and my fans behind because I don't want to be stuck with that piece of shit. Thank you very much.
And you know what? My take on this was more kind of the semi-related. I think he probably saw a lot of the fan conduct around No Way Home and a lot of what he had to deal with there. And if you were him, would you want to have to deal with that a second time?
No.
No.
Well, I wish him luck, and I can't wait to see how large the pile of money that Disney inevitably gives him to come back someday is. I'm thinking 2, maybe 2.5 stories.
Oh yeah, give or take, and I echo that with the specification that pile of money comes only from Disney and not Sony. We're going to be kind of bouncing in and out of CinemaCon a bit. First and foremost, Avatar 2 has gotten a title, and a 3D teaser trailer was apparently shown at the con. The Avatar sequel will apparently be called Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, unless this is somehow them fucking with The Last Airbender one more time, I don't care.
I kind of like the idea that James Cameron just keeps having ideas that interrupt that, and truly is absolutely pig ignorant of Avatar, The Last Airbender, or any of that. Like, he has never once come into contact with it, but just keeps touching on the same things. I would find that reliably stupid in terms of outcomes of reality. I don't give a shit about this movie. Like, in terms of graphics, I demand nothing less than holodeck from James Cameron if he expects me to give a crap about his Avatar sequel. We see graphics all the time. It's not even like how when Avatar came out, like, we hadn't gotten the full constant Marvel Star Wars bombardment. We're used to this level now. And 3D came and went. And like, yeah, every now and then it's kind of nice to see like a Star Wars movie in 3D or something, but no one's pumping those out anymore. They died with the Clash series. Do you remember the attempt to remake Clash of the Titans and shit? Fuck that crap. You know, that 3D is dead once again, with exception of essentially Martin Scorsese's dreaded Hollywood roller coaster films. And of course, yeah, I get it. Avatar 2 is going to be a Hollywood roller coaster film. It is, but I don't understand why someone at Disney hasn't taken James Cameron aside and gone, no one gives a fuck about these films, but we could take them and turn them into immersive rides, and you could use all that technology to actually make like a true hologram 3D adventure experience unlike anything on Earth. I think that they should just like take the IP, take all the ideas, take all the technology, and take James Cameron and just give him an endless budget and shove him off into a swamp in Florida. Go make stuff. Go actually make stuff.
Well, I know for a fact that there is an Avatar ride, I believe at Disneyland, or whichever Disney is the one down in Florida anyway.
Yeah, Disney World. And there is, and it's very impressive looking. It's not just a ride. It's like one of those floating rocks, and there's like the living trees and shit. But it's all very like 5 to 10-year-old tech. Get him in there with what he has right now. Show people what he can do bleeding edge to reality, not on screen. Because, quite frankly, James Cameron is held back by being a director. He should be the one out there redefining how we consider reality. I'm disappointed in James Cameron.
Well, yeah, like, to be perfectly honest, I don't blame you because to go back to what you had said earlier, like with the first Avatar, the 3D at the time was absolutely groundbreaking to the point that really, aside from that, does anyone remember anything about that first movie?
Dances with Wolves in Space.
Yeah, precisely. And like with the second one, I was pretty much going to say the same thing you did, that unless we're being put in an actual holodeck, unless this man has found a way to put top-notch yet low-budget virtual reality in movie theaters the world over, no one cares about this. Like, this will do nothing.
Yeah, it will look pretty. It will probably be decently written and semi-engaging, but it's hard because it's James Cameron. He doesn't fail. When he commits to this kind of thing, it always turns out right. But failure's inevitable, even for him. And there's not enough lore. There's not enough interest. People don't want these kinds of standalone big pictures anymore. They want something that you're investing time and money into that pays off far more than one simple fucking film.
Speaking of inevitable failure,
hurrah!
You remember The Mummy from I think 2017?
Yes, I do. I remember it fondly. I remember the first couple of seconds after the trailer dropped. I was on a movie forum, and it was the production trailer that had the audio all fucked up, and we were absolutely certain that, like, oh, I think my machine's broken. I think something's wrong. No, they wouldn't release a trailer that has fucked up audio and just Tom Cruise screaming with it. No, that was a magical time. I truly miss when studios fucked up that hard.
Oh, yeah.
And then the movie came out.
Yeah. And this is going to be the first of the, well, no shit portion of the lightning round here, where in a recent interview, director of The Mummy, Alex Kurtzman, came out and said, quote, "I tend to subscribe to the point of view that you learn nothing from your successes and you learn everything from your failures. And that," referring to The Mummy, "was probably the biggest failure of my life, both personally and professionally."
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he learned something from it, whatever it was. But yes, that was absolutely your biggest professional failure that I can think of, Alex Kurtzman. I'm not going to speak towards your personal life because I don't know shit about it. But yeah, damn, that was subpar.
Yeah, no, like I remember recording a quick rough cut review for it that I think got lost in editing hell. But I remember basically saying that it's just there. So it failed as a good movie and it failed as a bad movie.
And I don't like how Russell Crowe looks very sweaty all the time in it.
That's also true. But to your point of wondering what he learned, he does later in the article say, quote, "I didn't become a director until I made that movie, and it wasn't because it was well directed. It was because it wasn't."
Yeah, okay, I'll accept that.
Yeah, like the fact that he comes out and specifically says, "I learned what not to do thanks to this movie." I gotta give him a little respect for that.
Yeah. What not to do, number 1. Let Tom Cruise take over your film.
Oh, precisely.
No.
Now, with everything we've been reporting recently on Ezra Miller. For our non-binary listeners, I have news from a non-binary individual who's not a psychotic asshole. Because, again, we all kind of knew this, but it is now official. Janelle Monáe has confirmed that she's non-binary in a recent interview.
And so her pronouns are she, her, or she, her, they?
To be precise, what she had said was, quote, I'm non-binary, so I just don't see myself as a woman solely. And I know I said that we were done with Will Smith related stuff, but this did, ironically enough, come out on Red Table Talk.
Fair.
Quote, I feel all of my energy. I feel like God is so much bigger than the he or the she, which is a statement that I applaud because it's both accurate and it's probably going to piss off a lot of people. If I am from God, I am everything. But I will always, always stand with women. I will always stand with black women. But I just see everything beyond the binary. And in terms of her pronouns, I'm not immediately seeing the exact, here it is. It does say down at the bottom, she said her pronouns include they, them, and she, her.
Okay, cool. Good to know. I've been a fan of Janelle's work since undergrad, I want to say, like years and years ago for me, well over a decade. Love everything she's done, and that makes complete sense to anyone who pays any attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like I said, we pretty much knew, but it's just nice to see her in a place where she can come out and like officially say it.
Yeah. Good for her, and I can't wait for the next album to come.
We had talked a bit about Quibi in a previous episode.
We talked more about Quibi than an episode of Quibi lasted, which is more than anyone should ever talk about Quibi. Anyway, continue.
There is actually a service that tanked faster than Quibi.
Ooh.
And of all places, CNN Plus, the news network's...
Oh, yeah.
the news network's expensive venture into subscription streaming will shut down at the end of the month. Now,
it was a bad idea. I can understand the concept. Everyone else is making streaming services with like special premium content. Why not CNN? The answer, CNN, is because you're fucking news. If something is necessary to know, other people will report it, even if you broadcast it first. It's not like fictional IP where someone else isn't allowed to broadcast it later. News should never, ever be solely behind a blocked paywall. Even information that is behind paywalls on articles will be disseminated. And it simply doesn't work as a subscription video service. I can't believe CNN wasted money on that, and of course wasted talent who are not going to be transferred over to their current app and their television services.
Yeah,
which they should be. Like, they should be like, wow, that was dumb. Well, let's just take all this content we made and put it out on our current stuff. But instead, they'll try to find a way to worm some money out of it. It's silly, ridiculous. News should be free.
News should absolutely be free. And the service launched on March 29th and will essentially be dead as of, like, today, April 29th. And deadline, I would like to take a moment to thank you for this line in the article. An article which, when I first saw it, the only thing I could think was exactly how much Wolf Blitzer does CNN think people will watch? Quote, Its demise makes it perhaps the shortest-lived of all subscription streaming ventures, a lesser lifespan than Quibi, the platform that ran for about 7 months in 2020.
At the very least, it says something that CNN decided to pull the plug so quickly. They made a bad decision, and then they tried to fix it, albeit in a very rushed fashion. So we'll see the fallout from that. But, oh, God, that was the dumbest move they could have made. And then, of course, now they're reaping all of the ridicule from the right wing for it. So, crap. Way to go, guys.
Now, back to CinemaCon one more time, where Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse saw the first 15 minutes of the film released to viewers at the con, which has me intrigued by the fact that this was delayed until summer of next year.
Yep. I mean, you know, when you announce a delay, you gotta give people a little taste to keep them wanting. And I think, not to say that Disney had to learn from small companies such as, CD Projekt Red, but if you're going to delay something, give people something that they can enjoy right then, instead of more promises that it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's coming. It'll be fine. It's fine. Shit. This is crap.
Well, first of all, you want to remember this is Sony, not Disney.
Well, oh, you're right. It is purely through Sony. It has nothing to do with Disney Animation. Oh, that's even sadder because now I know that they will fuck it up. Oh, no.
Yep.
They're going to add, like, Kraven the Hunter to it and shit.
Well, first
I'm
of
not
all,
even joking. I bet they're going to. Yeah.
I could totally see that. We actually have titles for both parts now, as we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Part 2 will now be Beyond the Spider-Verse. So, does that mean Part 2 would be like the Spider Multiverse? Or do I just want to hang my head in shame and not bother to think about it?
Oh, no. You definitely know that Part 2 ends with the animated crossing over with the live action, and then Part 3 is just some Roger Rabbit shit with Morbius. It's going to be a clusterfuck.
Now, that I honestly would watch, but also I will note that as someone who actually did not like the first one that much, if Christopher Daniel Barnes is not voicing a Spider-Man in this one, I'm going down to Sony Studios and conversations will be had.
I hope it just has a sweet ass soundtrack like the first one. That had a great fucking soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that absolutely did.
Gotta go hard. I ain't got time to waste. I ain't got time. I gotta go high. Gotta go high. I gotta elevate. I gotta elevate. They wanna fight. They wanna fight. I'm just gonna let them hate. I'm just gonna let them hate. I gotta go high. Gotta go high. I gotta elevate. I gotta elevate.
Tell you one thing that I am unreasonably excited for, and I expect it to be the most tongue-in-cheek, dark-humored thing this side of, like, neon pink. It's the Barbie movie that is coming out. They released a poster for it, which was great news, and Margot Robbie looks fantastic as Barbie, followed immediately by crushingly disappointing news.
Right? Yeah, it was like, as soon as I saw this, I heard about this, like, almost to the exact second that I saw the image that they released, all I could think was, Aqua needs to be doing the soundtrack. And apparently, I was, needless to say, not the only one to think this.
It was a no-brainer. You make a Barbie movie, you put Barbie Girl in it, because it's a song about the character in the movie. You, at the very least, you have a nod in there. Maybe a little bit of the tune, or 2WEI does a super dramatic extended version. you do something. You can't just not. You can't just not. And
apparently, yes, you can just not.
Apparently, although the internet has not reacted positively to it.
No, and rightfully not, but god damn it, Mattel. Now, do you remember back when Barbie Girl was first released and Mattel sued Aqua because they basically didn't get the point of the song?
Yes. Yes, I do remember that. Is this really just like a carryover from that where they're like, no, fuck them. Fuck Aqua.
Yeah, basically, that's exactly what it is. Mattel just doesn't want Aqua anywhere near the movie because the original song, in their eyes, cast their product in a more negative light, which, god damn it.
Mattel, you idiots. You absolute buffoons. No, that song, while it did play upon some of the cliches and jokes and kind of absurdities of Barbie, it was overall a celebration, not only of the toy, but like the concept, the cultural concept of this ridiculous, high fashion, glam, queer friendly, iconic IP item. And for Mattel not to understand that is one of those things of like, oh, do you not get like half of why people find Barbie fascinating? Do you just like not understand, say, the camp factor? Does Waylon Smithers bother you?
Yeah, like on the one hand, I kind of get it because I could see Mattel wanting to keep the image or the perception of the Barbie brand, for lack of a better term, as wholesome as kid friendly as they possibly can. And the video, they do essentially sexualize Barbie. But at the same time, when I look at the image that they released for the movie, and I'm sorry, this might as well have been straight out of the video. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, so to speak.
Plus, quite frankly, looking back at the video for Barbie Girl, which, being a queer trans woman, I can do without hesitation. I can remember that entire damn video. There is not a moment where she is over-sexualized in any manner that is not in line with outfits and behavior that Barbie has traditionally observed. Like, that was part of the humor, is any of the sexualization was purely there. Ken was a horny bastard, sure. But Barbie herself was naive, and nothing she did was out of the ordinary. Technically, you could probably... Actually, no, I will go as far as to say that video was absolutely broadcast on YTV. Nothing too sexualized could be on YTV by nature of their charter as a children's television network. Like, they did what they could to expose kids to, like, you know, hip-hop and alternative rock and, like, top 40s and stuff, but they were always so very careful to make sure that it never spilled over into anything inappropriate. They're actually, like, legendary in Canada for being a network that they know exactly what they're doing and they don't fuck up much at all. And they absolutely broadcast Barbie Girl multiple times because I remember watching it on that channel multiple times. quite frankly, yeah, I have issue with that. I have issue with that. Bullshit.
Oh, yeah, no, so do I. Now, in regards to Mattel's issues, here's specifically what it was according to this article from Variety. Mattel, who were concerned that the song could harm the wholesome Barbie brand, were unhappy with what they considered to be the track's suggestive lyrics, describing the song in their filing as being about, quote, a promiscuous Barbie doll singing in a flirtatious tone, and a, quote, licentious Ken doll responding, kiss me here, touch me there, unquote. They also cited a scene in the accompanying music video in which Ken, played by Aqua vocalist Renee Diff, accidentally pulls off Lene Nystrom's arm, which, I'm sorry, if you had a Barbie doll growing up, at some point you did the same thing.
I mean, what would they have preferred? The actual reality of her head coming off?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I kind of get it. Just don't ask me to like it.
I will be, of course, interested to see what they do instead, but knowing that they kind of lack that generosity of humor now, I have my first reservations about this film. Margot Robbie, of course, has not done anything wrong yet. Everything she touches is still fantastic. We shall see.
Make me walk, make me talk, do whatever you please. I can act like a star, I can beg on my knees.
Come jump in, bimbo friend, let us do it again. Hit the town, fool around, let's go party.
So we're gonna play a little guess the celebrity now, where
Ooh.
I'm gonna give you a quote, and we'll see if you can figure out who said it.
All right.
Quote,
Gary Busey.
No, but in a sense, you're not that far off.
Ah, sweet. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Jake Busey.
Still no.
Nuts.
How about I read the quote?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Quote, I turned down Lord of the Rings and I turned down Matrix because I didn't want to go to New Zealand for 3 years or Australia for 3 years because I needed to be home with my son.
Okay. Someone who would be in both The Matrix and Lord of the Rings. So probably a rather serious actor. Lord of the Rings, I mean, that's a lot of British people. I know for a fact that Sean Connery turned down the role of Gandalf. I didn't know that he would be in The Matrix. I mean, what a great Morpheus that would be. So, yeah, no, I'm going to go with Sean Connery. Sean Connery. Though I didn't know he had kids. God, he was a virile old man. Yes.
Oh, no. Needless to say that there have been some stories about Sean Connery, but it's not Sean Connery.
Oh.
Although I will say that considering this actor's massive talent, when you say serious actor, you're still not that far off.
But also possibly a little ridiculous.
Tiny little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. Brings the cage rage.
There, we're getting there.
Yeah. I, for one, would be very interested to know exactly what roles Nick Cage, of all goddamn people, would have been expected to play in The Matrix, which is one thing. That's one thing entirely. You can see him being like maybe Cypher. Oh, that'd be a really interesting Cypher. Maybe an agent. Okay, sure. Lord of the Rings? What? What does he play, a fucking hobbit? An elf?
No, apparently Nick Cage was considered for Aragorn
No.
Lord of the Rings.
No,
Yeah,
no,
no,
shut
no.
it down. Shut it down.
Oh
no,
no,
I was going to expect. I was going to accept Boromir. I was maybe going to accept Faramir. No, I do
No.
not accept Aragorn.
Oh no, I completely agree on that one. Just because, quite simply, if you put in Nick Cage as Aragorn, you almost have to completely implode that core cast, or it doesn't work.
Oh, none of it works. None of it works. It's not even a matter of the intricacies of the performance that we ended up getting. No. Everything about that movie would completely change in attitude. You can't have that overly detailed kind of calm, pastoral, medieval mythicism. Everything would have to be on fire and spiky and way over the goddamn top, and Dragon Force would do the whole soundtrack.
Okay, now, when you put it that way, I'm kind of for this movie, actually.
I mean, at that point, just, go watch some Metalocalypse. I mean, fuck.
Yeah. Now, The Matrix, on the other hand, apparently he was at one point up for Neo.
Yeah, I guess he would be. He would have been
And-
age appropriate.
This is all one where I probably would have said no if they had not cast Keanu Reeves.
I mean, they are capable, rather, of playing along the same lines. It's just the intensity that Cage brings, I feel, would completely rule him out because, of course, one of the great aspects of Keanu Reeves and the character Neo specifically is they are both that perfect level of everyman, and they have both all the qualities and none of the qualities. It's whatever you need, and you can't have that with Nick Cage because Nick Cage doesn't play default when he plays like a role-playing game or approaches a character. He always like cranks up the strength to 10 and the intellect to 1, or he gives nothing but sneak, and it's just sneak the entire game. He commits to 1 or 2 traits, and he never backs down from those exact things. And if that is not exactly what you want in the character or see, congratulations. You're never going to get what you want.
Yeah, like Nick Cage as Neo, I would be intrigued just because I would like to see what the scenes with him and Lawrence Fishburne would look like. But overall,
I also feel like that would require a recasting because he doesn't have the right energy for playing against Lawrence Fishburne, for Lawrence Fishburne not to come off unnecessarily comedic, like in a slow way. Yeah, it would render his entire performance and style in Morpheus as just kind of, well, it would push it to its logical conclusion of Matrix talk that you get with the Architect, and it would immediately feel like that.
Yeah, and I was actually just about to say that as much as Cage as Neo intrigues me, I am also left kind of wondering if they were going to use Nick Cage, would he have been better off in as the Architect?
Now that would have been interesting. It's just you open a door, you expect to find who knows what the fuck. People that are there opening night. I'm right down there, kind of a few rows up, and it's like, oh god, here comes. What's the secret of the Matrix? And there's Nick Cage sitting there in a leatherback, just kind of like, hey, come on over. And he exposits for 20 straight minutes uninterrupted. You know what? I would be probably just as disappointed overall with the film, but also
Yeah.
kind of elated because okay, they fucked up, but they fucked it up gloriously.
Yeah, it's like when you put out the idea of Nick Cage as the architect, I don't see how you're not at least intrigued by that idea. 'Cause, like, just the thought of Nick Cage trying to do Zen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like wondering what the taste of lightning is. You don't want to lick a power pole or get struck or anything, but every now and then you just wonder, what does lightning taste like?
Now, sticking with intriguing casting choices, Netflix apparently has a new martial arts film called Absolute Dominion with Alex Winter and Patton Oswalt set as the leads.
Yeah, and to be very clear, concerning Netflix, this seems to be the only thing that they're spending any money on or producing since everything else got canceled. But I'm really curious with this.
Yeah, well, they're spending all their money on this and Stranger Things, let's be honest.
Even though Stranger Things is less and less and less every time.
And yet somehow now each episode of the upcoming season has the budget of a small movie anyway.
It's all they have. That and this. And this at least is something slightly different. And, I mean, it has potential. I saw some people talking about it on Twitter earlier today. And it really seemed like, I don't know, something... I'm just trying to think of a phrasing for that. It really seemed like it might actually be something unique and new and interesting from Netflix, which is something we haven't seen since the first Stranger Things.
Yeah, and just as soon as I read the log line for this, like just the basic summary, I'm like, this scene's kind of Matrix or Equilibrium-esque, and I'm in. Again from Variety, quote, "It's 2085 AD and the world has been destroyed by religious warfare." So clearly it's a documentary. "Desperate to save humanity, global governing forces host a gripping, no-holds-barred martial arts tournament. Last fighter standing wins absolute dominion for one faith."
So once again, another kind of interesting but probably shallow Netflix endeavor, but kind of cool premise. Like, if I'm always fascinated that Netflix movies always sound better as video games.
Well, I mean, this in particular, because this is basically spiritual Mortal Kombat brought to us by Blumhouse, which again is like, huh.
And I used to really love Blumhouse, and then A24 came along, and
That, yeah.
I, not to call them Salieri, but
I mean, yeah, as much as you don't want to, I see your logic here, and it's really hard not to.
exactly. And like, I'm not necessarily, I don't want to, like I said, I'm interested in this. I don't want to crap on it, but it's kind of like, sweet, the hottest movie of 2018.
Yeah, and quite frankly, there was that series they had a year or two ago that I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer with angelic elements and almost religious conspiracy that everybody was super hyped for, and then when it was released, it fizzled out really, really quickly.
I do not remember that at all. Like, unless that was supposed to be bright I don't remember that at all. Like, at all. None of that is familiar to me. My mind started trailing off and thinking about Spawn. Hey, remember Spawn? Remember Pogs? Remember Todd McFarlane? Remember the home run competition in the 90s? Remember Levi's jeans?
Okay, I got it. It was called Warrior Nun.
I do not have any recollection of that whatsoever. I completely spaced on that one.
So it was released in 2020, and the basic summary: after waking up in a morgue, an orphaned teen discovers she now possesses superpowers as the chosen halo bearer for a secret sect of demon hunting nuns.
Okay. Cool.
And I did watch the first season. It wonderful cinematography, picturesque locations, a great supporting cast, but there was I don't know if it was the fact that by the time the finale ended, it was like the story just stopped. But it didn't click, and it just, like I said, it fizzled out.
Kind of like half of their Marvel shows. Just, okay, we're done now. Show's over.
Yeah.
Bye. Go away.
Yeah, but like with Warrior Nun, it felt unfinished.
And it is unfinished. You'll never see that again.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Along with everything else.
I think at one point there was brief talk of a season 2, but unfortunately it's gone away.
I swear by this time next week and next episode, they'll have been sold off or some shit. Elon Musk will buy them as, like, I don't know, something to keep in his pocket.
Oh, wouldn't surprise me. As far as things that blessedly have not gone away, Black Panther 2, no, seriously, it's coming. It's a thing that exists.
It's still coming. It's still coming.
The first footage was released at CinemaCon, and it looks like Shuri may still be becoming the new Black Panther after all, despite Letitia Wright's apparent best efforts to make sure that doesn't happen.
I mean, everyone knew something had to happen. You can't just keep going forward saying, like, oh, there's Black Panther just over there. Turn the camera. The camera can't turn. Oh, that's a shame because Black Panther sure is kicking ass. Oh, and he just took off his mask. God, T'Challa sure is a handsome looking man. Like, they have to at some point have someone else become the Black Panther in some form. And frankly, that's the best way while keeping within canon.
Oh, yeah, no, it was... people have been assuming, like, from day one that Shuri was going to inherit the mantle. And I think that was the plan from day one. And then Letitia Wright started talking about vaccines and...
Yeah, that was dumb of her, and remains quite dumb of her, but...
Yeah.
The Black community does have reasons for not trusting vaccines to start with, so that's an entire history and validity. I am not surprised that Disney didn't pull the plug on her as an actress, though, because she didn't push it too far. She didn't go off and become a spokesperson for this. Like, she said it a few too many times, but then someone clearly said, hey, do you like money? And shut the fuck up. So I think she's clearly figured out that at the very least, if you're going to hold those kinds of beliefs, and you expect to be paid the big bucks by Disney and pushed forward into a major role in one of their primary big tents, you should probably not go and start kicking that bear in the face. Just leave it alone. You don't have to. You can buy a new house every single time that you want to say something controversial about vaccines. Look at your bank account and buy a new house. Doesn't have to be a big one. Just like go through the motions, and by the time you've purchased that house and like gone through the homeowner's insurance and the bank, you'll have forgotten about whatever was annoying you. Buy a new house.
Precisely.
You can afford it.
Now, actually, the thing that caught my eye with this Black Panther news, because this is actually the first time I'd heard it, but apparently this is going to be the introduction for Riri Williams and Ironheart.
Okay, that's a smart move. I'm less familiar with Riri's backstory. I know that she's an American inventor, so my presumption would be that Shuri kind of becomes her mentor through that Wakandan outreach program.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see that. It seems like a natural setup. Now that you've got the basics down from the Spider-Man, Iron Man mentorship idea, and they seem to have America Chavez be mentored somewhat by Doctor Strange. Start playing with that, and Riri Williams being mentored by Shuri is really obvious, quite frankly. It's perfect, and it allows for building of the next roster of the Avengers.
Yeah, absolutely. If I remember correctly, Riri, when she debuted in the comics, had basically built her own Iron Man suit in her college dorm room, and like that's what puts her on the Marvel community's radar. And especially like in the MCU, especially with that outreach program, they can do basically the same thing. And I don't see how someone from Wakanda, especially someone like Shuri, doesn't see that and go, let's talk.
Yeah, and I really hope that as well, that eventually plays into the Armor Wars War Machine aspect, where Rhodey has to go around and try to undisseminate all of Tony's, like, essentially Armor Wars is Rhodey has been forced to put all of Pandora's demons back in the box, and frustration will ensue. And I would just love to see the politics of him trying to enforce like American law on Riri when Riri is like in Wakanda. It's like you have to give that copywritten material back. You can't have that armor. It's like, okay, come and get it. Bring your suit and try to get through the wall. That would be... I think there's a lot of potential to start working Wakanda in a lot more into everything else and having it be like kind of a more present global organizational thing. Leading, of course, to the eventual Space Wakanda. I want Space Wakanda. Read the Space Wakanda storyline. It's fascinating. It's fantastic.
I would definitely keep that in mind. And I think for me, I've been looking at the upcoming Ironheart TV series, the same as something like Captain Marvel, where it's just, Marvel character that I don't know. I'm excited for this. So now knowing that I get to meet this character sooner, on my end, there's just no fail here. The final teaser for Multiverse of Madness has been released. And, there's some cameos. There's been a lot of stuff confirmed. God,
they just keep pushing it so close. frankly, at this point, Marvel is engaging in voyeuristic kink and edging. This is not fair. I do not consent. Just give me the goddamn film.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're trying to avoid spoilers, obviously you're going to want to skip ahead about 2 minutes at least. But even just the clip that I have muted on Twitter right now, apparently we've got Photon, who, of course, debuted in WandaVision. Patrick Stewart's Professor Xavier is now official. They're at least being honest that it's him.
And his golden floating chair.
I was just gonna say we only see the wheelchair. However, it should be noted that if you've seen the 90s X-Men, you will understand when I say it's that chair.
I can't wait to hear the sting.
Oh, God. Oh, that would be lovely. And also, I've seen comments about Anthony Mackie's Captain America being in the movie, but at the same time, there is a shield that you see in the teaser. It ain't Captain America's.
Nope.
No, it's Captain Carter's.
Yep. I'm just really glad to see Peggy Carter back again and not as an old woman dying.
Yeah, I honestly really just enjoy Haley Atwell, and especially if this is going to give us a super soldier serum enhanced Peggy Carter. We remember my reaction to Natalie Portman in the Thor trailer, so I'm down for this.
Also, I just want to say we are so close to getting Steve back. Tiny little scrawny Steve. Yay!
And you know what? Logically, it's Marvel, so at some point that's going to happen. I honestly hope it's not anytime soon.
Oh yeah, Chris Evans will show up again. It's inevitable. I just don't want them to push him to the point where he doesn't find that enjoyable anymore.
Oh, I'm into that. And just so that I can use that segue, speaking of pushing things to the possible point of not enjoyability, also released at CinemaCon was footage for The Expendables 4, as well as the name for the movie. And I feel like this may or may not be a sign of things to come. But the title is Expendables, where they've replaced the A in the middle with the number 4. Remember the last movie that did that?
Yes, I do. It was fantastic. I don't understand why we're still making expendable movies. I thought we got over that. I thought it played itself out. It ended well enough. We all went, yeah, okay, that was increasingly kind of desperate, but fun at the time. And we have now put more than half a decade between when those old farts were old as shit, and now they're even older as shit. Why? Why are we still doing this? Aren't we done?
Yeah, I mean, here we are. Yeah, especially since it's actually been more than half a decade. I'm looking at IGN.com. That's where I got the name of the movie, and they do specifically say the first Expendables arrived in theaters in 2010.
This concept is played out.
Expendables 3 was released in 2014.
You know what I would actually have liked to have seen instead of them driving that concept into the ground? If the first Expendables was the Expendables as it is, that no changes to that movie. The second Expendables is like a jungle commando predator, a different kind of action film that they all kind of would have done. And then the third Expendables is a bad like sci-fi action thriller. So like a little bit of Terminator, a little bit of Total Recall, a little bit of Judge Dredd, and a little bit of Demolition Man. Just that's how they should have done it. Like they should have rolled through it like Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy, each one being a different flavor of their own action styles. Instead, they just keep beating the same damn drum into the ground.
Yeah, yeah. And also, speaking of the Terminator, and this time I'm actually not referring to Arnold, the IGN article does have a line where they say, there were also plans for an all-female film called The Expendables, but there hasn't been much news on that front in some time, and I'm pretty sure that I know why. The Asylum beat them to it.
Yep. I believe I have seen stills from that horror show. Oh, God. What a just dead part of the industry.
Like 2014, The Asylum releases a film called Mercenaries, starring Zoe Bell, Kristanna Loken, Vivica A. Fox, Bridget Nielsen, and Cynthia Rothrock as, if I remember correctly, the Secretary of State, which just the fact that she was in there just made me happy. And this was one of the films where as soon as you announce your plans to make a big budget film, if The Asylum can crank out the exact same concept of film in record time, make no mistake, it's going to happen. And that's what they did here. Because if I remember right, that all-female Expendables spin-off film would have been initially announced around 2013, 2014.
What a horror show of absolute idea bankruptcy. Let's just keep making the same shit, gender flip it now and then, repeat that and rip it off from a different studio. Yeah, fuck it. What an absolute dead end of a genre at this point. Let it lay, let it possibly fertilize the ground around it, and someday the genre of idiot action will return. But right now, you just gotta, like, not touch the corpse too much or it's gonna off-gas.
When The Asylum is the studio that killed your blockbuster film idea, might be time to stop.
Yeah, that's a sign. Penultimate episode of at least this season, maybe there's more, maybe there's not, of Moon Knight. That was a hell of a trip.
Oh, yeah. It's almost fascinating how this episode showed some fan theories were I don't want to say very right, because it was almost like the theory was the mirror image of what they actually did.
I was very right. They're dead. Yay!
They are dead. But the theories that I was seeing on Twitter was essentially Stephen was going to go to heaven and Mark was going to go to hell. Not quite the way it worked out.
No. Instead, Mark ended up in a field of dreams, and Stephen got turned into beachfront property.
Basically, yeah, that's what happened. It's Mark is in heaven. Stephen is, for lack of a better term, in purgatory.
I'm really fascinated how they get out of that equally. I assume it'll be Mark that's driving, because Stephen, of course, is, he's been turned to dust. I get the general idea that that's not really a very active lifestyle.
Yeah.
Whereas getting a chance to explore this heaven of Egyptian mythology will be far more interesting to watch. Plus, what the hell is happening on Earth since since souls are apparently plunging into the desert at like meteoric rates?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say it's just straight up spiritual carpet bombing.
It was a really pretty thing to see. That was a horrible implication.
Yeah.
I love their. One second. I love their sand barge. I love good sci-fi barges that don't go on water. You know what's a real trip to watch in a shitty film? Ra's like sky barge in
Yeah, I was just gonna
Gods of
say,
Egypt,
Gods of
with
Egypt,
Jeffrey
yeah.
Rush there. It's just you live in a world where Jeffrey Rush has a flying ship and he's just overhead. There he is. Bye, Jeffrey Rush. See you tomorrow. I love a good sci-fi mysticism barge, so it was very entertaining to see that going through the sands. Yay! This is my niche. This is my fetish.
But also I think we should note, especially with what we get rather for Mark and Steven's origin story, so to speak. If child abuse is any kind of a trigger or issue for you, be warned.
Yeah, this one definitely, for Disney Marvel, goes into darker spots than probably anticipated.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's also just fascinating how we've had Mark presented as this cold-blooded killer, when in reality, what we get here is Mark just being so protective of Steven, because he knows what's coming and is like, you, for the sake of your own sanity, I need you to not see this.
Yeah, and we don't really get a chance to see how that all plays out too much, because shortly after Steven gets desertified. But it was a really exposition-heavy, backstory-heavy episode. We not only get the relationship with the mother, who hated Mark and Steven, of course, their entire lives, or her entire life at least, from a certain point on. We get the terrible, tragic, sad backstory of, oops, Mark accidentally got his brother killed when they were children, with implications that, no, Khonshu murdered his brother and set him up and set all of this up and made his life a living hell. And it's one of those things where you go into a Marvel show's 5th episode and you're always like, there's so many strings. How are they going to pull this together? How is this going to possibly work? And typically they manage to make it work. There's always that great knot in episode 5 where everything comes together and you're like, oh, okay, now I understand all of this. Great. Wonderful. Yeah. And then episode 6 is a big fight that is typically not as satisfying, but it's always nice to see that they can still pull that off. They still have the magic of like, yep, we've loaded everything into one episode practically, and you've been prepared along this journey to accept this info dump. So here you go. You're getting what you want, and it's child death and child abuse. Thank you for subscribing to Disney Plus.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure that we really got that knot here, which is intriguing as hell, but also at the same time worrying, just because episode 6, the finale, is gonna have one hell of a lot of work to do.
Yeah, like explaining everything that has happened in the living world since then. A god has been unleashed. Oh shit.
Yeah, and we still need Mark to somehow get Khonshu freed and get his powers back.
And
All
then
the-
deal
all the
with
stand-
Khonshu. Or at
Yeah.
least give him good side eye.
Yeah, like all the standard stuff that you would expect from a Marvel finale hasn't even been set up yet.
Which is like part of the wonder of some of these. If you remember the finale to Loki, that episode primarily featured one character sitting on the side of a desk talking to the two main characters, and that was it. Like, very little action. No one would have predicted that going into it.
No.
And so far, everything in this has played out very well in terms of, like Marvel comic book television. There are numerous people who have numerous issues with, details or minutia or specific performances or characterizations. But overall, everyone seems to be enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And I'm excited to see how they conclude this. And then move on to the next thing. Because, oh my god, Doctor Strange. Oh my god. Yay.
Yeah, so soon and so going to be just batshit insane.
Yay! Doctor Strange! Yay! But it's not out soon enough for us to cover on Sunday. So, Mike, what are we watching?
If I remember correctly, we're essentially going to backtrack a bit and discuss the frankly fascinating failure that is Michael Bay's Ambulance.
Oh, good. Explosions. I can't wait for explosions. I actually can't wait to see this. I truly do respect Michael Bay's cinematography, and I'm especially interested when he gets to play with new technology and it commercially fails. His commercial failures are usually some of his best work.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, frankly, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Thank you so much for listening to the B-Roll. I have been Crash and Burn. He has been Mike Montgomery. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, like, share, and subscribe, or send us an email. Mike, the email, because I have been kicked in the head by a donkey. I've forgotten it again.
Oh, this is becoming a chronic thing, but it's realgeekshfx@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter @realgeekshfx. And also, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. 5 stars would be lovely, but I would frankly prefer honesty. I may regret those words later, but for right now, I would prefer honesty. In either case, ratings always help a show. One day they may help us get sponsors, which gets us money that we can put into making the show better, and you get a better product, and everyone wins.
Whereas I will always accept fawning praise, even if it is a lie. 5 stars, please. Thank you so much, and check us out on Monday when we cover Ambulance. It's gonna be great. Woo!
Oh, see you then, everybody.
Goodbye.